Now, just when China was relaxing its travel restrictions, other countries are now imposing curbs. The United States becomes the latest country to impose a mandatory COVID test. This will be only for visitors arriving from China, Hong Kong and Macau. From the 5th January, everyone from these three regions will need a negative test to enter the country. Air passengers will need to take a test no more than 2 days before departure, and this rule is also for people flying via a third country and connecting flights. If anyone is tested positive more than 10 days before the flight, then the passenger can show documents to prove his or her recovery. The move comes after Italy said that it is going to test all travellers arriving from China. Authorities say almost half of the passengers on 2 flights to Milan were found to have the virus. Health officials are now sequencing those tests to see if there are new variants in case a new strain is found. Officials might impose stricter curbs on travel from China. We might be hearing some news from the European Commission today as well, because the bloc is set to convene to discuss possible measures to curb the situation. Meanwhile, Australia says it is making no changes in its rules. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's administration is only monitoring the situation. In the wake of the biggest COVID outbreak in China, many countries are rushing to secure their borders to keep the virus out. Like Washington, similar measures have been taken by Italy, Japan, Malaysia, Taiwan and India. After almost 3 years of restrictions, China decided to let people travel easily from the 8th of January. Quarantine is set to end for travellers entering China, and passport applications for Chinese citizens will resume. But the relaxations are not sitting in sync with the current situation in China. The country has experienced an unprecedented rise in cases. Hospitals and crematoriums are overwhelmed. Experts speaking to us from Beijing say almost everyone they know are testing positive for the virus. China has struggled to vaccinate its elderly population and is yet to authorize the foreign mRNA vaccines. United States and other nations have accused China of failing to be transparent over COVID data. The true toll of daily cases and deaths in China, that's unknown. Since the 25th of February, officials have stopped releasing these figures, so it's becoming increasingly difficult for other governments to monitor the chances of new variants. Defending itself, Beijing says that the world is distorting China's COVID policy and every COVID response should be science-based, not affecting people-to-people exchange. For more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Take a look.
So U.S. officials are rightly concerned that China may be slow in identifying a new dangerous variant and sharing that information with the world. After all, it took China weeks to admit the novel coronavirus originated in Wuhan and its human-to-human transmission. However, the Biden administration's new mandate for Chinese travelers won't go into effect for another week. And by that time, tens, if not hundreds of millions of more Chinese may be infected, and many of them will be traveling to the United States and elsewhere. A Shanghai hospital, after all, predicted that half of the city's 25 million residents will be infected by the end of the week. Many believe that the Biden administration is trying to show that it's doing something in case fears of a new, dangerous, unknown variant is realized. Some are already questioning whether or not these new mandates are merely political inoculation as opposed to finding real, long-lasting solutions to keeping Americans safe. Doctors are saying perhaps alongside these travel mandates, what would be best is for the United States to accelerate treatments that would better serve Americans and won't be defeated by new variants. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.